Hello, my name is Robert Eckstein. I'm going to be giving my speech on why I think college athletes should be paid. There are 168 hours in a week. On average, a college athlete spends about 40 and a half hours per week on their sport of choice. Uh, with that, they spend over 34 hours a week on academics for a total of over 75 hours. This leaves about 92 and a half hours per week for them to work, sleep, eat, socialize, clean, and do other things that they need to get done. On average, a student might have a part-time job that takes up to another 20 hours a week. With this, it's required an athlete requires a minimum of about 8 hours of sleep per week, per day, which would come out to 56 hours of sleep per week, not leaving much time for them to get things done that they need to get done. With these two factors calculated in, it leaves the athlete with only about 16 hours per week, or about 2.5 hours per day, to complete their daily activities. The schedule does not even address additional demands placed on by their athlete, coaches, or teachers. This brings us to my burning controversial question: should college athletes get paid for their time? And my answer is most definitely. In 2012-2013, NCAA made a total of $6 billion from ticket sales, radio, and television receipts, alumni contributions, guarantees, royalties, and the NCAA distributions. Another $5.3 billion is considered allocated revenue, which comes from student fees allocated to athletics, direct and indirect institutional support, and indirect government support. Revenue for the NCAA itself is projected at over $797 million for the year 2012-2013. For example, Johnny Manziel brought a wave of media exposure that was worth an estimated $37 million from November to early January. After contributing, turn that off, making this amount of money, Johnny Manziel still owed about $3,000 in school expenses that he had to pay out of his pocket. The average average Division I scholarship is approximately about $25,000 a year. This may seem like a lot of money, but however, it only covers certain things, such as thousands of dollars in, however, it covers only the basics, and such as thousands of dollars in mysterious unknown university fees, tuition, housing, meal plan, and multiple $100 textbooks. As it turns out, the average all expense paid full scholarship doesn't pay all the full expenses. Now, the first thing opposing side may rebuke is that they are already getting a scholarship, and that's more than other people get. But in reality, it isn't. It's reasonable to suggest that athletes who are primarily responsible for generating the income are the ones that should be compensated for this. Coaches of this day and age are paid handsomely for their profession. In the 40 of 50 U.S. states, the highest paid public official is currently the head coach of a state university's football or men's basketball team. Nick Saban, the football coach at University of Alabama, was paid $7 million every year since 2006, and that's just his average salary. Moving forward, the aspect of a lack of college athlete compensation is potential to a career-ending injury. It's something that if they were to injure themselves, that possibly they could lose their scholarship. The NCAA reported that in 2012 alone, there was over 20,000 injuries, pushing 21,000 injuries just in the sport of football. Sadly, there are no provisions in place to protecting a player from unanticipated medical bills, or prohibiting a coach from revoking a scholarship the year after recruits get injured. In regards to that, an injury would equal a loss of a scholarship, and then you'd lose your education, you'd incur debt, and then you lose your dream of being an athlete, possible professional athlete. The argument that is possibly long-term success and earning potential and compensation, for the risk they expose themselves to playing their sport of choice. In other words, you have to risk it to get the biscuit. An extreme solution would be for athletes to make a decision to boycott or go on strike. I personally think that paying college athletes would keep them to participate longer, maybe stay in school for another year. A lot of college basketball players tend to only play a year and then go to the NBA to earn more money and participate in they just do 1 year and then they're going to the NBA so that they could be paid. This can also serve as a huge potential. I think a more reasonable solution would be like a tiering level. Pay people basically X number of dollars per home run, per touchdown, per three-pointers. Something like this. I think it would be a huge incentive to push players to do their best. And even possibly what I think is maybe reducing coach salaries and maybe distributing the difference accordingly based on a percentage of the revenue of an individual player generates. Either way, I really do think that the NCAA needs to rethink their greedy ways to ensure that all college athletes are recognized and rewarded momentarily for the priceless contribution to dedication to the old ball game. Thank you for your time. You guys have a good one.